Okay, what I'm attempting to do today is install this MSD distributor and MSD box inside my car where my original point system is. I already got the firewall marked out for my number one. I got it at top dead center. So let's get this puppy in there and see how she runs. Okay, got the coil removed. It's pretty easy to tell. This side will be my positive. That's going back towards the passenger side, and I got a negative wire right in here. Also notice that the distributor vacuum advance is pointing straight out to the driver's side, right down in there. And the new one does not have the vacuum advance on it. So. Okay, the old distributor is completely unbolted and ready to pull out. I got the hold down taken out. I'm ready to yank that out. Once I do, I have the new distributor to go into it. And they also gave me some special lube for the gear. And in case you didn't read the directions, they also have a little warning tag right on there that says use that gear oil or it'll cause the gear to wear. It also says don't use synthetic oil, which is fine because I'm using conventional oil in the car anyway. And it's a 30 weight 1030, so that ought to be pretty good for me. Thank you. Little side-by-side comparison of the old distributor and new distributor. As you can see, the shafts are about the same length. They look pretty decent. Of course, the billet's much prettier. And we're getting ready to install this. I'm going to put the camera down so I can lubricate that gear up without making a big mess out of the camera. And then we'll drop it in. Okay, everything is all set up. It is running. I'll start it up so you can see it running. The only problem I'm having is when I shut the key off, the engine keeps running. The original coil wire right here, they told me to connect this red wire into that original one. As long as that's connected, it'll keep running. So what I'll do is I'll just unplug it when it's when I'm ready to shut it off, until I figure out why it's doing this. Starting and running very smooth. I'm very pleased with the way it starts right up, and it runs great. I just got to figure out how to get this shut off now. So it looks like I would go hit Google and see if I can't figure out what's going on. Once I get that all straightened up, I'll come back, clean up all the wires, make it all look nice underneath the engine bay, and move on to the next project. Okay, after a little bit of brief research on the internet, I did find out that with the MSD ignition, if you have an external voltage regulator, which I do, that'll feed power back to the MSD box and keep the car running constantly. To solve that, what you need to do is put a dioide in, which they actually supply for you. Although it says nothing about it in the directions, it did say it on their website and their troubleshooting. And the fourth wire off your voltage regulator, the brown wire that feeds back to the light, if you put a dioide in there, it'll straighten it right out. So the car's starting and stopping fine. As you can see, I cleaned up a lot of the wires off the MSD box, going to the battery, going to the distributor. It's all cleaned up. I did cut some of them and shorten them. I resoldered them and shortened them up so that they'd fit a little nicer. I didn't have a bunch of wire hanging all over. I still got to pick up some wire looms for the spark plug wires, so they'll lay out a little nicer too. But I'll go ahead and start the car. It has sat for about 2 days since the last section of video that I made, so I'm not sure how easy it's going to start, but it is starting and stopping. One thing I wanted to point out that was kind of a pain when you're installing the MSD box, at least on this car. I mounted it to the firewall right there. I thought it would look really good right there, and I'm pleased with the way it does look. But it is kind of a pain to get behind where the screws go, where these go into right here. You have to pull the valance off and then get behind it from there. The bottom one's actually to the glove box side of the car, and reach my hand up through the insulation and stuff to find out where the two nuts were coming through from the bottom of this, and put them in that way. It wasn't like impossible to do. It's definitely worth doing because I like the look of it up there better than say mounted to the inner fender or some of the other places. Like I said, some of the wires were a little long, and I went and shortened them up to make it look a little nicer, but very pleased with the system so far. I just got to clean up the wires so that they look a little nicer, and then that'll be great.